Hey everybody, Jake Thurm. Monday after the Masters, Rory Mcllroy is the 6th player ever to complete the career Grand Slam, and a roller coaster ride to do it. I've got his shot off 1, which I have a hard time calling a shot that went 310 in the air uphill in a bunker, a poor drive. And then I've got his shot off 10. And the shot off 10 was the one I wanted to see. And I think a lot of you wanted to see that too. Because in 2011, his shot off 10 with a one-stroke lead was closer to the cabins than it ever was the center of the fairway. So we've got a driver off 1 and we've got a 3-wood off 10. The reason I'm doing this is not just because Rory won, but because you saw other players do it. The mini driver has gotten very popularized. And what you were seeing with Rory Mcllroy, Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, so on and so forth, is when they need to turn it over, perhaps they're going to either that mini driver or a fairway wood, a 3-wood. The higher the loft, the easier it is for them to turn over. Again, I think he was trying to turn this one over off of 1, but it stayed out to the right, landed right in the lip. It's same thing. He was definitely trying to turn that driver over on 2. And that same thing happened, landing it 300 plus yards right into the lip. Let's get into it. So Rory has, like so many great players, battles getting the club 2 under. Too much drop and too much lowering in transition. And then he's kind of got 2 options from there. So you can see, I do think he's a lot wider, more of old school phrase here, one piece in the takeaway with the, we'll call this the triangle, so on and so forth. I know that was a big key to Greg Norman, who never unfortunately exercised his demons here like Rory did yesterday. But there's more of your one piece in front of you takeaway. I know for a fact he's worked on getting his right arm wider and more supported. He's always been a little bit across the line at the top. A lot of people that swing from the inside are, so we'll just leave that right there. Remember, driver on the top, 3-wood on the bottom. When he wants to make sure the ball turns over, 3-wood is probably the club that is coming out. He does like to work the ball both ways. I still think the predominant vanilla shot is an inside-out push draw. But again, that comes with its own issues at speed. It can drop too much from the top. So I tell you drawers out there who are blocking and hooking that we've got to stop the drop and control the lowering. So we'll put this up top again. We see the in front of you, one-piece takeaway. Put him at the top here. Okay, again, maybe a little bit shorter than this backswing with the 3-wood because that would be his transition up there. A little shorter, a little wider, but still very much across the line, okay? Again, across the line is not the worst thing in the world, especially for the amateurs out there. It's really just what you do with it. If across the line helps you come more from the inside, being that so many people watching these videos are slicers, I'm cool with it. But if you have a lot of speed and battle getting the club 2 inside out, then you probably want to minimize that to some extent. Okay, a little bit more neutral at the top and a little bit wider like Rory has worked on, being that he understands his tendencies under pressure. So we're going to just watch the amount of lowering that he has from the top of the swing. And again, all pros, based on the height of their backswing, if they have a much more upright backswing or flatter backswing, will have some amount of lowering typically. So you can see that lead arm is working lower, and the club's a little blurry here, but trust me, this is a little bit more underneath. If he was looking at this swing right now, he would say, yeah, that's a little bit stuck and from the inside. So typically what happens for high-speed players that do this is they kind of lose their posture as they come in the ball. And when you lose your posture, you're unable to rotate, and then you lose a little bit of face control. Again, nothing too terrible right there. Hips out a little bit at the golf ball. Definitely swinging inside out to the right. Club face is probably a little bit more to the right than he would have anticipated there. And this is just going to be a little bit of a slight block scenario. Try to see it saving it with the hands. Anytime you want to know if a good player is trying to save it with their hands, you're going to see the exit come out probably a little bit more lower, but probably a little bit more with the face closed when they try to do it at the last possible moment. They've hit so many golf balls in their life that they can just feel this coming in transition. Here's your 3-wood. A little bit more lowering, and I'm going to tell you, actually, and again, I know I have a hard time calling this a bad drive on 1, and obviously this drive ended up perfectly on 10, but I'm going to tell you there's a little bit of lowering here, probably more than he wanted. I do love that the hands are kind of exiting left there as he hits it, but anytime you see that high right shoulder finish, you saw that with Tiger Woods so many times. Yes, it can be a product of someone that's trying to turn it over. It also can be a product of someone that is blocking and hooking. So I think he was a little weary of under blocks and hooks scenario, but obviously he got the job done and was able to control it. So much of his takeaway and top of backswing and transition has been to not get the club so stuck from the inside. Key takeaway here, most of you need to get more from the inside. So in terms of club movement, copying Rory is good. And for those better players out there, regardless of your ball flight, the modern drivers can draw the golf ball. But there is such an emphasis on hitting up at it nowadays. Obviously, the cat is out of the bag. Everybody knows hitting up at it more produces higher launch with lower spin. If the club is moving upward, it's probably moving leftward. So that would mean that maybe with these modern drivers and the way the swing is being taught, with the angle of attack being so positive, that perhaps hitting up at a cut is a little bit easier. Again, the vanilla shot for Rory is a push draw, but he can cut the ball if he wants. So teeing it a little bit lower, getting the attack angle not so up, maybe even levelish with the 3-wood, with the shorter shaft and the increased loft just makes it easier to turn it over. If you are a better player, if you are a scratch player, if you like to work the ball off the tee, and you need to turn the ball over, perhaps a mini driver or just a plain old 3-wood is the shot for you when you need to see it curve the other way. You wouldn't be the only one. When I was a kid, I was taught to play the same ball flight all through the bag. I still think that's good advice, but if you hit up at your cuts with your driver, then tee it low and push draw your 3-wood when you need to off the tee. So many good players did it. So many players inside the top 10 did it. 3-wood was very common off of the 10th tee when the ball has to turn over. Copy from the best players. Copy from a historically best player who has shown the ability to compete on all golf courses. Jake Thurm, Monday after the Masters. Rory Mcllroy, one of the all-time greats. See ya.